We're often faced with the choice of evolving or repeating. And this is where free will comes into play. I know I'm not alone when I say that sometimes you get comfortable in being on the merry-go-round, right? Or being in that revolving door. But one thing I can say is in being comfortable in that repeated cycle, you do not get to call yourself a victim. Insanity is doing the same thing over but not respecting. Okay? Maybe not respecting yourself enough to do something different. Okay? But expecting a different outcome when you keep putting in the same effort and energy. And it is minimal, might I add. How do I know? Because I have been there, right? That repeated cycle that just keeps you in the same place. And you keep wondering why aren't things changing? No, why aren't you changing? In order for things to change, baby, you have to change. You have to make that shift. You are the one. I ask this question often. Are we evolving or are we repeating? At some point, you got to get sick of your own shit, right? Because that's when the change is going to come. Yes, you can be motivated. You can be inspired by others. But it is you who has to show up and do that work. It is you who has to decide that, you know what, this free will that I got, I'm going to use it for my greater good instead of my own demise. It is you who has to come up with come up with some sort of game plan, but sometimes you don't need a damn game plan. Sometimes you just need to show the hell up and walk yourself into the unknown and be okay with that. And just know that you are going to be okay. And trust that your divine steps will be ordered as long as you just take that first step. You got to be like the fool card and just take a leap into some shit. Because apparently what you have been doing has not been working. Insanity. So let's try something different. I was speaking to my brother the other day and he mentioned, well, Arlene, there's no rule book to adulting. There are plenty of guides, right? There are plenty of people who are sharing knowledgeable information. But again, it's up to you to decide if you are going to evolve or repeat. No one can make you. If you are tired of being in the situation that you were in, you have to do something different. You got to pivot, baby. But again, even when you think there is no other route, baby, there's always another route. The options are endless of how this thing could turn out, but you have to make the choice to just do something different. Not saying you got to be perfect, because you know authenticity over perfection any day. And if you striving for that perfection, baby, you might as well just stay where you at. Well, you gonna stay where you at, because that illusion of perfection is what's gonna keep you tied to your complacency. Hell, nature shows us every day that it is perfectly imperfect. Okay? So with that being said, what are you doing with your free will? How are you showing up when you are met at the crossroad of the same crossroad? I just saw a forest. So imagine you in the forest and you keep seeing this big oak tree, right? You keep going the same way but ending up at that same tree. So baby, maybe you should do something different. Maybe you should go a different way. But first you have to make up in your mind that there is different out there. Don't think you don't have any options, baby. You have a variety of options. Change your mindset. There is an abundance of ways to get out of your current situation. You have to be willing. And one of the things is, I don't want to make it seem like it's so easy, but you have to be okay with making the change. You have to be okay with feeling that fear in the pit of your stomach and knowing that, oh my gosh, I'm about to embark on something I have never done before. And that is okay. But you got to keep going. Oh my gosh, I am encountering thoughts. I'm having these thoughts. That is okay, but you have to keep going. Unless you want to stay on that Ferris wheel and never get off, stay on that merry-go-round and never get off. You want to stay in that revolving door and it seems like the exit is never making its way known so you can get the hell off. You got to do something different. And you have to be okay with knowing that some people, places, and things are going to have to get left behind. That is something that people don't talk about often enough. That feeling when you have to leave those, you have to be okay with detaching. Detaching from the outcome, detaching from the expectation, detaching from the thing that you were bonded to. You have to make peace with that and knowing that everything in life has an ending, a beginning, right? But there's never really an end. You just make space and you make way for something new. But everything has an expiration date. I'd be lying if I say that it didn't. But the part that gets us hung up is the ability to not want to make shift happen because of the shit that has already happened. In those connections. So if you are desiring more, remember first you are not a victim. A lot of us weren't shown a blueprint of how to create a different circumstance. But if you have the ability to see that what you are given is not working for you, then you have the ability to see that you can create a different way. Think it. Ask the ethers, the divine, for assistance and supporting. Because it's not going to be easy. But just know that you have the power within you to get through it. So again, if you are getting this feeling, you are tired of repeating these cycles, and you are ready to evolve and not repeat, You can do it. You don't have to have everything figured out. You knowing that you desire something different is enough. So when it's time for you to move and make decisions, even with the fear, you still have to move and make that decision. Because the fear ain't gonna never leave. But you got it. I love you. Peace.